Hey everyone, it's your favorite Kiwi, MineMyThoughts here. Yeah, this is going to be a rare MineMyThoughts voice commentary video, but I need to say some things about the UFL. I think you all know I'm a football channel first and foremost. I've been watching spring football since 2019. I've been covering it on YouTube for 5 seasons now. So I think everything I'm about to say means more coming from me. I'm not some outsider who just dunks on these leagues without watching them. I've put significant time of my life into watching and being a fan. I own merch, I know the cultures, I've connected with the fan base. I've watched content creators come and go covering this thing. And if I had to be honest, this season was probably the most difficult I've had covering it. I don't think I'm growing disinterested in spring football. I love any and all football. Okay, maybe not arena football, but that's a story for another day. I just think I found myself disagreeing with so many of the league's choices this season and watched so many issues play out that I want to go over. Let's start with the scheduling conflicts. The 2 seeds almost hosted the conference championship. Home field advantage almost didn't exist, which is just stupid. The UFL got incredibly lucky that DC and Michigan choked the number 1 seeds in the final 2 weeks. And by choked, I mean rested their starters and didn't even try because it wouldn't have made a difference. I think it's a big problem that the UFL can't book its venues for every date in the playoffs. When you can't book Ford Field because of a graduation ceremony, and Audi Field because of a soccer game, what does that say about your contingency plans? Are you not able to do a game in Ann Arbor? Or even the dump that is FedEx Field? I mean, they couldn't even book 5 home games for every team. The St. Louis Battlehawks played 6 games at home this season. The San Antonio Brahmas? They played 4. What does that say about the competitive fairness and the treatment of these host cities in this league? It doesn't help that the Brahmas went 1-9, so getting a 5th home game wouldn't have changed that, but it's still something every team should be getting. Then we had the doubleheaders. The UFL has 4 games a week, one of them being every Friday night. But this season, once again, there was a week where 2 games aired Saturday at 1 p.m. on the same network, so your region determined which game you could even watch. You have a 4-game schedule. You should be maximizing the number of eyes on your product. Which is something the networks don't care about with the cutaways this league experienced. In Week 8, the ending of a nationally televised game was cut off early and moved to ESPN2, because of the NBA. No, let me clarify. The last 3 minutes of this game were moved to ESPN2 because of an NBA pre-game show. I get it, it was Game 7 of the Nuggets Thunder series, but come on, that's awful, it's a pre-show. This game came down to the wire and had a phenomenal ending. Luis Perez did his own thing and fake spiked the DC Defenders into a playoff berth. Instead of ABC viewers witnessing that, they had to sit through NBA analysts talking about an MVP contest measuring Jokic and Shea's beer snakes, all while Stephen A is in the corner playing solitaire. Looking past games just getting moved, from a watchability standpoint, the UFL is actually pretty accessible. I could watch every game easily. But let's say I wanted to go to a game in person. No shot. I don't have a local UFL team to root for. I'm from the north. 6 of the 8 teams are in the south. It's hard to convince people across the US to support teams so far away. And even in market, the fans are far and few between. I even considered going to the UFL Championship in St. Louis, but honestly, why bother? I watched more of the UFL in 2025 than I did in 2024, but that doesn't say much. Most of my recap videos were just me scrolling through UFL Twitter pages. I didn't have the drive to watch a full game. Not like I do with the NFL where I watch my team, Red Zone, all the primetime matchups. And then we get to the marketing, and quite frankly, they simply don't market the league good enough. They had a Super Bowl commercial, which is cool, I guess. It doesn't matter when most fans won't remember 2 months later. We live in an era where anything and everything can go viral on YouTube and TikTok. There are sports that have used social media to become more popular than ever before in the United States. The UFL shouldn't be declining, and marketing is a big reason why. No marketing naturally means less people, and wow, the attendance was awful this year. If you weren't Michigan or St. Louis, chances are your team underperformed in the stands. Memphis, multiple times this season, broke the record for least attended spring football game in history. Players don't want to be playing in empty stadiums. Not even Ben DiNucci wants to give the UFL a chance anymore. And now everyone's saying the Memphis Showboats and the Houston Roughnecks might get relocated. Which is a shame because those are decent markets for football. OKC, New Jersey, Phoenix, Tampa, those cities are fine for getting UFL teams. But I feel like you should try harder at making your current markets work before writing them off. And look, I have to say it. The fan base is so unbelievably toxic. It's a small niche community, but they are so loud and passionate about it. And that's not a bad thing per se, But in week 2, a commentator said no UFL player wants to be there. And you know what? It's true. They don't. The UFL is a stepping stone to the NFL. We all know this. The UFL knows this. But that riled up every UFL fan. And when I defended the commentator, I got attacked by all 13 UFL fans. And let me be clear, this does not mean everyone. A lot of you represent the league well. Amira, Larson, Baker, State of the Salians, Ducky too, I guess. You all are cool. You watch and know the history of the UFL, which is more than what the UFL can say. They tweeted that this safety here was the first safety in league history. So yeah, there were 4 safeties in 2024 alone, and they ended up deleting the tweet and just let the false info spread, and it wasn't even acknowledged on the broadcasts. How did this slip past the media team like that? I mean, the media team for the UFL could use a lot of work. Multiple times this season, they uploaded games in 720p at 24 frames per second. Guys, we are in the big 2025. 1080p at 30 or 60 FPS should be the minimum. I shouldn't have to go to Twitter to get decent game footage. And of course, The Rock. The Rock is supposed to be the owner, the face of the league. He didn't show up to the season opener. He couldn't even be bothered to show up to the UFL Championship. What does that say about his involvement when it looks like his ex-wife is doing the majority of the work? I get it, he's the most famous actor in the world, so his schedule is very busy, but that fame is supposed to help this league's popularity. Even Kurt Menefee said in an interview that The Rock has not been involved enough.
I don't know if he's been in front of the camera as much as a lot of people had expected.
I'm starting to see a pattern here. Maybe everything The Rock touches fails. CM Punk was right. Dwayne, you really are a
bald fraud!
And since The Rock wasn't around, the UFL put everything into destroying being the face of the league. So how did D do? Look, I know you all like D, but he just isn't that good at football. I don't think he'll ever make the NFL. He's had season-ending injuries as a kicker in back-to-back seasons, and breaking his neck was a freak accident. I mean, kickers shouldn't be leading with their head, let alone going for tackles, but still, a freak accident. This season, a groin injury. Injuries aren't anyone's fault, but maybe it's time to admit the league shouldn't have put everything into D being the star. I'm guilty of this too. D was on the thumbnail of my UFL Week 1 video. I know he's the main draw, but he shouldn't be the only draw. And now we're supposed to believe in the league's longevity. 2026 expansion is confirmed. The UFL should be around for the long term, but it's hard to convince me and a lot of others to keep believing in spring football when it's failed so many times historically. Between the 80s USFL, Vince's XFL, the AAF going bankrupt, Vince's XFL again. I mean, COVID killed this one, so generally I let this one slide. Whatever the hell fan-controlled football was, and then the XFL and USFL being basically forced to merge since they were not going to survive on their own. I own merch from some of these spring leagues, and both teams I supported are gone. The New York Guardians? Gone. The Houston Gamblers? Gone. Kinda. Trusting something I support, especially the teams, to be around long enough to get attached is hard. This was my 4th year in a row covering spring football. The USFL in 2022 and 2023, the XFL in 2023, and the UFL these past 2 seasons. Before I did YouTube, I watched the AAF and Vince's new XFL. I love football, and I don't need that post-Super Bowl break that most people do. But between all these issues and simply the overall quality of play, I don't know if I'll be covering it again next year. I probably will, but just like this year, it's always a tough decision. With that, I will sign off saying, cause the law, fear the beer snake, and Josh deserved the MVP over Lamar.